Extreme poverty experienced in third world countries is beyond our imagination. But what if you could help those suffering go from impoverished to financial independence? What an amazing feat that would be. Well, a local woman is doing just that after a personal crisis taught her a valuable life lesson. Jacqui introduces us to Teresa Wilson, the woman changing the world one beautiful basket at a time.
It's absolutely overwhelming when I go to the villages. The day that I had the privilege to pay an artisan for the first time to today, it makes you cry every time.
Founded by Teresa Wilson in 2002, the Blessing Basket Project is empowering artisans to lift themselves out of poverty.
We're getting ready to pay Nalaboa Topista. She is one of our Kasamu weavers, and the prosperity wages that she is earning on 9 sets of baskets is more money than she could have earned working in the fields in a year. To be in a position to hand someone a new life when we make that payment, there's nothing like it in the world. 270,000! Oh, you are so welcome.
Now, a decade later, entire villages that were once destitute are now prospering.
Blessing Baskets project is our savior.
It's through a simple concept that delivers freedom to so many.
My women here in Uganda, they are very happy and they are very healthy and they are together now, you see, because of Blessing Basket.
A Blessing Basket give the weaver premium wage. The difference is like this, like the earth and the sky.
That difference between what would be considered fair trade and what we pay, which is this prosperity wage, the weavers use this money in the middle to start businesses. So many of them have come up with so many unique and wonderful businesses. We've got a woman in Uganda that now makes more money charging cell phones in her village in 1 week than she did working in the garden for a month. Madam Imuna started a roadside store just under twigs and whatever she could put together, and today she has a brick and mortar store. In Niagara, when a child reaches the age of between 10 and 13, the parents, prior to Blessing Basket, would have to put them out of the home because they could not feed them.
One such youth was discovered on a basket scouting trip, which later became a meeting with destiny.
HEC-TV is the young man's name, and we found him homeless and hungry on the streets of Accra, Ghana. And he was selling baskets at the corner. HEC-TV took our liaison to an abandoned government building where there were an additional 40 young men from that same village. We took them all home to their village. They were reunited with their parents, and we placed an order for 4,000 baskets with the village. There was such a celebration in the community. It was so historic, they literally wrote us into the history of the village.
Now they are all back here, doing their own work here. You know, with cooperation, we can really fight poverty.
Big Joe is an artisan in Ghana, Africa, and he was one of the homeless young men that we brought from Accra back to his home village. He proudly showed me 12 cows that he had purchased with his prosperity wages. He's now turned the cows into a business. Big Joe is now considered one of the wealthiest men in the village. That's the power of the prosperity wage. That's what it does.
And Teresa knows what it's like to be without and to rise above. It was through her own trials that Blessing Basket was born.
I don't know what it's like to be poor in Africa, but I know what it's like to be poor. I know what it's like also not to have hope.
But it wasn't until Valentine's Day, 1999, that life got really bad for Teresa. Her husband of 13 years chose to abandon the family and never to return.
Money was incredibly tight. People all around me just started showering me with love, and so I started keeping these cards and letters. It was those cards, those expressions of love that became the Blessing Basket that I would then start talking and teaching from.
Through extensive research and a huge leap of faith, Teresa Wilson launched the nonprofit organization.
I was able to reach out around the world through an organization called the Mountain Forum. I sent an email to the world and I said, this is who I am, this is what I want to do. But when all these stories started coming in, I realized the magnitude of what I had started.
Today, with a small staff, a strong team of volunteers, and partnerships with companies such as Whole Foods Markets, the organization works with approximately 3,000 weavers across 6 countries, including Ghana, Uganda, Madagascar, Papua New Guinea, Bangladesh, and Indonesia.
It's a real example, and I've said this many times over the years, but I got to feel it. That the power of one person, it's true.
Now we have our girls' school here. Education is the key to development. I think literacy is just dying off like that.
And for many artisans, hope is real for the very first time.
You know that it's so rare to have the opportunity to have a cooperation with such organization like Blessing Basket.
Using her prosperity wages allowed one weaver to escape a life-threatening abusive relationship.
I am not going to give up. I am going to be strong for my children. I am going to do work, and we will eat. We will be okay.
To think that just a few short years before, I was at that place. I was in that place. It's just a privilege to be able to pay forward what people have invested in me so that I can help women like Albina. It's just a real privilege.
If you'd like to be a part of an empowering chain reaction around the world, spread the word, become a volunteer, and buy blessing baskets.